fucking angry with that bitch, Gina.
Hey besties and welcome back to my shit show. Did you miss me? Because I missed you. I hope you're having a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious day. If you're new, welcome. My name is BLACSIREN, and in this channel, what do we do in this channel? So if you're interested in crime cases, makeup, comedies, fashion, or just cuss, join the family and hit that like button in the face. Y'all, we really need to make a name for this series. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. And don't be mediocre. Be creative, be over the top, be extra. So how are you? How you doing? Tell me everything. I just finished watching a movie. It's called The Weekend Away. This movie got me shook to the core and flabbergasted. And let me tell you, when they reviewed the killer in the end, I was like, what the fuck? There's so many twists and turns in this movie. So definitely go check that out. And it's called The Weekend Away. And Leighton Meester was the lead actress. And if you don't know who she is, she was Blair Waldorf in Gossip Girl. In today's video, we're gonna talk about female killers because I get tired of talking about male killers. You know, I get tired. It's time for girls to fight back. Well, statistically, they are more male killers, but some of the female cases are very fascinating, just like the one I'm going to cover today. So the other day I was doing some research about female killers. I was like, who can I talk about, you know? Then I came across this one. I was like, ooh. That's fascinating. So our killer today, her name is Darlene Gentry. Such a beautiful woman. So I'm just gonna call her the Black Widow. Allegedly, she was charged for the murder of her husband. And how did a prom queen turn herself into a cold-blooded killer? Let's find out. Man, I really need to plug my eyebrows. Look at this part. You see that? Darlene Gentry, I think that's how you say her last name. I don't know. Do I look like a linguistic professor? So she was born in 1974 and she grew up in Cameron, Texas. It was a small town which only lies halfway between Austin and Waco, and it only had a population of 6,000. I had to double check. I was like, is it 60,000 or 6,000? It was 6,000. So growing up, Darlene was always that girl. You know when you watch movies and TV shows about American high schools, there's always that girl who's the head of the cheerleader, who's the homecoming queen. Darlene was that girl. She was pretty, she had vibrant personalities, and she was always the center of the attention. And she definitely knew how to benefit from that. So there aren't that much information about Darlene's childhood, so I just assume she didn't actually have an abusive childhood just like other killers. And after high school, she attended Texas State Technical College where she studied to become a dental assistant. That's also where she met her future husband, Keith Gentry, who studied drafting and welding. They loved each other very much, and according to Keith's dad, Raymond Gentry, he said, she just acted like Keith on the moon, you know? Whatever he wanted to do, they done. And after graduating in 1997, Darlene wanted to settle down. She's ready to get married. She's like, you know what? Let's start a family, let's have a child, or let's just ruin our 20s. But on the other hand, Keith wasn't ready. He was like, I am in my prime time, I am in my 20s, you know, I wanted to go party, I wanted to explore in life, I want to fuck shit up. I'm not gonna get married at the age of 20, like I don't want to do that. So eventually they broke off and Darlene moved to Dallas and she got a job working as a dental assistant. And that didn't last long. While she was working in Dallas, her car got stolen. She was like, ew, what the fuck? So she moved back to her hometown, where she met Keith again, so they rekindled their relationship. In 1999, Keith felt timing is better now, and he felt like he's ready to settle down, you know? So he was determined not to let her slip away for the second time, so he popped the question. He's like, marry me? And obviously they got married. They got married in Texas. And surprisingly, it wasn't a lavish party. Why did I say surprisingly? You will find out later in the video. And Darlene said it was a typical Texas wedding. We did barbecue and danced afterwards. It was a good time. Oh my god, I am sweating. They moved next door to Keith's parents, and Keith took a job as a technician for a company that required him traveled a lot. This job pays him very well, but the downside of this job is he has to travel all the time. So he only had 2 to 3 days to spend with his family per week. But for most of the times, he has to travel around the country, sometimes internationally. While Keith was working, Darlene would stay home doing nothing but spending money. Because our girl Darlene, she's a material girl, you know, she likes to spend a lot of money. She spends a lot of money on her hairdo, makeup, nails. She buys expensive shit like clothes, furniture, because she wants the best for her family. Girl, bye. Actually, that's not true. She didn't just stay home and doing nothing. She actually gave birth to 2 kids, 2 boys, back to back. She also buys expensive shit for the babies. You know, she was balling out. She was like, well, Keith was the only provider to this household. Honestly, I don't against having the best for your family, but girl, you're delusional because first of all, your husband, he's not rich. Like, he has a good job, definitely, but he's still, at the end of the day, he is still a working class. You know, it's not like he fucking runs a 500 fortune company, or he's a fucking manager or a vice president of some trade company on Wall Street. Even like he makes a lot of money as a working class, but there's a limit of how much money you can make. He's not a business owner, he works for somebody, you know? And shortly after that, they had another baby. Well, have you ever heard of condoms? Have you ever heard of Plan Bs? The fuck? And that's when they realized, oh, the money is very tight now. And you would have thought Darlene will come to her senses. She will tone it down a little bit when it comes to her financial spending problem. But nope, well, you thought it wrong, because she was still spending hundreds of dollars every month for her to get her nails done, her hair done. And she was like, the world can crumble and people can die left and right, but my hair has to stay blonde and my nails have to have Swarovskis on them. I mean, I get it. It's very pricey to maintain the facade. I think like there's so many years of people praising her, lifting her up so high, now she can't even go down anymore. She can't sink low. Who doesn't want to look good? But you can still look good on a budget though. While she was at home with the baby, she actually got a nursing degree, so I guess she did do something. She got her hands full with the job and 3 boys. You're probably gonna ask, oh, if she had a job, how could they still, you know, struggling with the money? That's because this bitch is dumb and she just doesn't have that concept that she has to save money. She was literally spending more money than they make. Well, she was spending money at home, and Keith was constantly getting harassed at the bank and the debt collector. They were telling him, oh, you need to pay this overdrafting fee, otherwise we're gonna cut your card. So they literally pulled a Rihanna on him. They were like, bitch better have my money. You know what? I think I made a mistake. I was going to do a cut crease in the middle, here, but now I have to do it from here. You know what? I'll wing it. Because at this point, whatever Keith was making every month would go directly to paying off the debt. He was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm not even making any money then. So he eventually quit and took a desk job that kept him close with the kids and Darlene. So he was like, yay! But Darlene was like, fuck no. So some bitch is probably gonna ask, why didn't Keith divorce her? That's literally everyone. Everyone was telling Keith, you know, you should leave her because she doesn't make you happy, and everybody can actually tell he was not happy in this marriage, and this marriage sucked him dry. And our Keith, he was such a good guy. He was like, I love Darlene. I'm gonna stick it to the end no matter what. I will never leave her until death do us apart. Where the fuck can I get a guy like this? I can find it in the US. I can find it here. Like, should I move to Madagascar? Because I fucking will. Just tell me where. On the morning of November 9th, 2005, just past 6 o'clock, Darlene made a phone call to 911. She reported that someone broke into her house and stole all the guns. And there's blood on the bed. Then her husband had pink foam coming out of his mouth and he's making a god awful sound. And what was so strange about this phone call is normally when you are making a call to the 911 about your significant others or your partners, your family members or whoever, you just cut to the chase. You'll be like, oh my god, my mom is being shot, my husband is being shot. You know, there's like no fucking bullshit. But our girl Darlene, this fucking bitch, she spent 25 seconds to cut to the chase, telling the operators, oh my god, my husband is being shot. So basically she was writing an essay to the operator. She was like, you know, I woke up 6 o'clock in the morning and I was sleeping with my kids. I got woken up by the baby. I heard a noise. I checked the door, blah, blah, blah. 25 seconds later, then she said, oh, by the way, my husband is being shot. Like, what? So when the police arrived, they found out that Darlene Gentry, she was still on the phone with the operator. Which that's normal, you know. What the fuck? Ugh. I don't know if they do that in China, but in the United States, they have to do that. They have to stay on the phone with you until the police arrived. Keith Gentry had been shot once in the head, but he was still alive, so they rushed him to the hospital. While the police was at their house, they discovered that the house had no signs of forced entry and the cabinet where they put all the guns didn't appear to be broken into. So right off the bat, the police was like, something is not right, something is fishy here. And they were suspecting Darlene killed her husband, but there was no evidence pointing directly to her. And just outside the front door, they made a shocking discovery. One of the first things that the cops saw was all the stolen guns from the cabinet was methodically laid out in front of the lawn. Like, imagine you open the door and you see all the guns are neatly laid out there, and if you were the detective, you would be like, what the fuck is going on here? So they found it so strange. That's when they started questioning Darlene, and she told them what happened this morning. She said her children had been sick the whole night, so she chose to sleep with them instead of going to the master bedroom to sleep with Keith. And then she fell asleep watching TV, and early this morning she got woken up by the baby. And she saw the back door was open, the gun cabinet was open as well, which is strange because, and there's a key to the cabinet and only 2 people know where the key is at. One is Darlene and one is Keith. And normally when somebody breaks in and they wanted to rob you, they would just go in and out, you know, they would just, because they're not here to celebrate the new year with you. You know, they would just be in and out very fast. And the fact that the cabinet was not even shattered, that kind of raised a red flag to the police. Because it just doesn't make any sense, you know? So she saw the empty gun cabinet and yelled at Keith to wake up. She claimed that when he didn't answer, she went into their bedroom, where she found him covered in blood and making a gurgling sound, like, you know what I'm saying, like that. And that's when she called the police. And another thing that is so strange and kind of raised the red flag to everyone is, remember I had told you she was a registered nurse. And the fact that you're a registered nurse and when something happened to your husband, you just chose to stand there, bitch, it just doesn't make any sense. Even for a regular person who never medically educated, they would still do something. They would try to perform the first aid. They wouldn't be just stand there and do nothing, and that's just so weird and bizarre. And what's even more strange about Darlene is during the interview, not once she had asked the police, like, how's my husband? She had never asked anything about her husband. Not even like, is he awake now? Like, no, nothing. I mean, girl, at least try to pretend that you care about your husband. For whatever reason, like, if you want to get away from this murder, like, at least pretend that you care about your fucking husband. Like, you, like, everything that you did, it's just so suspicious. Like, what the, girl, bye. I really don't know what's in her mind. It just doesn't make any sense, you know? Like, even if you did kill your husband, and it's just so weird that you're not even pretending at all. And an hour into her interview, police got word that Keith Gentry was brain dead. So they drove Darlene to the hospital where she signed a consent form to take her husband off of the life support. And he died soon after. Then the police said, and I quote, "I never saw her actually really break down. She had tears in her eyes and mourned, but not like someone like that should have done." So they returned back to the station to finish the interview, and at this point the police already knew that she had killed her husband, but there's no evidence indicating that she committed the crime. So Darlene knows that as well, so she's like, "I want a lawyer." So police later found out that a 9-shot 22 caliber was missing. And according to the autopsy, the gun wound indicates that the Keith was shot by the 22 caliber, but the gun was nowhere to be found, and they wonder where the fuck was the gun. They believe Darlene is guilty, and they tried to get to the bottom of this. So they started to ask around all the family, friends, and neighbors. Everyone spoke very highly about Keith and how he was the perfect husband. He loved his boys so much. He sacrificed a lot for this family. And on the other hand, everyone was bitching about Darlene, how she spent a lot of money. She doesn't love Keith at all. Like, she's a bad mother, blah, blah, blah. Everything that came out of their mouth was about Darlene was bad. Well, if she is greedy with money, so there's probably had a financial motive, right? So the police found out that Keith actually had 2 life insurance policy. It was approximately $750,000. Cha-ching! On November 27, 2006, the police requested a warrant for Darlene's arrest on suspicion of the murder. So she had a $50,000 bill, and you know who paid for that? Keith's parents, because they believed that Darlene would never do such a thing like this. And I was like, girl, what? And a couple days after Keith got murdered, Darlene reached out to a realtor, Robert Pavolka. She said she would like to move on. She would like to start a new chapter, so she's looking for a new house. So Robert showed her a property that had a pond next to it, and Darlene was so thrilled, and she said, "Oh my god, this is what Keith would have wanted because he always wanted to teach the kids how to fish. So having a pond is such a great idea, I'll take it." And then when she got released from her arrest, she told Robert, she's like, "I'll take the house, but I don't want the pond anymore." Then Robert was like, "Bitch, are you tripping out? It doesn't work like that. What is this, a fucking monopoly?" Hold on. So basically, she's just telling Robert, "I don't want the pond anymore. Like, fuck the pond. I don't want that shit." Then Robert was like, "Okay, that's so fucking weird. Never heard of that." So that conversation raised a suspicion to Rob. So Rob called the police and explained the situation to them. She wanted the pond, but she doesn't want the pond anymore. Like, it's so fucking weird. I don't know what to do. Then the police told Robert, "Okay, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna call her and you're gonna tell her, oh, if you don't want the pond, that's fine. We're gonna drain it and we're gonna fill it up. That's all we're gonna do." After the call, the police sent out a dive team to the pond, and they found the 22 caliber that Darlene had disposed. The weapon they found was belonged to Keith Gentry. After they got the weapon, the police set up a video camera in the bush in the hope that she would return to retrieve the gun. Well, you can see from the video she actually went back to the pond and she was looking for the gun. It was just so funny. And she was checking around and make sure no one would see her. Then wading into the water and going there directly to see where the gun was found. And wham bam, yes man, they definitely got her this time. So during the trial, they showed the footage to all the juries, and it only took them 5 hours of deliberation to come back with the guilty verdict of murder. And the following day, she was sentenced to 60 years to prison. And according to KXXB, some fucking newspaper website, they said she was unemotional as the verdict was read. She took off her earring before being taken into custody. Following her conviction, Keith's parents, they actually got the full custody of the 3 boys, and Darlene is prohibited from seeing them ever again. I mean, they can probably see her once they reach 18, but I don't know, like, I wouldn't. If my mom is a serial killer and who killed my dad for money, for insurance fraud, like, I wouldn't even see my mom mom. Like, why would I? Now at the age of 47, I think it's 47, I'm not good at math, so don't at me. And she still continues to maintain the innocence. Like, she just kept telling people she is innocent and she kept appealing, but her appeals kept getting denied because there's no new evidence saying that you're innocent. So at this point, she's not innocent, you know, but she just keeps telling everybody, I am innocent, I didn't kill my husband. She will first be eligible for parole in 2037. That's when she's like in her 60s. So pretty much she's gonna die in prison. And that bitch is the story of Darlene Gentry. In my opinion, she's just a dumb bitch. I don't pity her. And as a matter of fact, I feel so sorry for Keith and his family. He was such a good guy, good father to the kids, and good lover to Darlene. And he definitely don't deserve this. And what are your opinions? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this week's video. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, be safe, be vigilant, and take